morning, first years and transfers. Are there more than 4 of you? Let's try this again. Good morning, first years and transfers. Good morning! Okay, now here you go. Good morning, seniors. Good morning! Good morning and welcome to Convocation 2012. We celebrate the beginning of the academic year at Convocation at colleges all over the country. So we are doing what most colleges are doing either this week or the week before or maybe the week after. We come together, the students, the faculty, members of the administration, to celebrate the beginning of another year in the academy. Our campus theme this year is Leading with Compassion. Dalai Lama said love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. So I want you to tuck that in your pocket and remember it throughout the year. Care, be compassionate, be concerned. Help your fellow students. Without love and compassion, humanity cannot survive. So, to your entering students, you recently learned about the importance of academic integrity to our community, and you signed the pledge to be ethical in word and deed, and our pledge is on the stage today. The seniors signed this pledge when they entered 4 years ago, and we hope they have been true to its charge. Seniors, today you are wearing 2 parts of your regalia, the robe and the mortarboard. At commencement in May, you will add your hoods, which signifies the achievement of your baccalaureate degree. And this year, we're starting a new tradition. The seniors will be allowed to wear their robes the last 2 weeks of classes. Maybe not in chemistry lab. Okay, use your own judgment. By then, you should have more good judgment than you know what to do with. And now, before we welcome our faculty and the faculty processional, let's look at some pictures. You may be seated. Finally.
Hold on to me as you go, as we roll down this unfamiliar road, and although this way is stringing us along, just know you're not alone, 'cause I'm gonna make this place your home. Settle down, it'll all be clear. Don't pay no mind to the demons, they fill you with fear. The trouble, it might drag you down. If you feel lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone, 'cause I'm gonna make this place your home.
please rise for the faculty processional.
Let us pray. O holy God, ever-present Spirit and Creator, we thank you for this day of new beginnings. Thank you for this hour in which we mark the start of a new school year, make promises, greet old friends and meet new friends, and prepare to study and persevere and learn and grow. Some of us are first-year students, just beginning. Some of us are seniors with our accomplishment in view. Some of us are in between, just plugging along, doing our best. Enlarge our hearts, O God. We have signed this, our honor pledge, to honor ourselves and others and to live by these virtues of honesty, integrity, respect, and responsibility. Show us how to be true to our words. Some of us confess that we don't know how to honor ourselves. We need to escape self-judgment, self-image, and self-defense. And some of us confess we don't really know how to honor others. Our focus has been on our own needs and our own comforts. Let this time at school grow and form our character, that we may be, with humble confidence, take our place as whole and healthy citizens of our society. For you call us to know ourselves and to be mindful of others. On this September 11th, we are mindful of the many who died and suffered loss in the attacks on our country 11 years ago. We are mindful of those who have gone to war in response to those attacks, those whose lives have been lost, and those who suffer emotional and physical disabilities, devastated families and communities. Oh God, we long for a peaceful world. So much has happened, and some of it is good, healing, rebuilding, growth, and joy. We look around us and we see so much. Some of us in that time, Lord, were older and we remember exactly where we were when the buildings were hit. And some of us were young girls, young children, and we have grown up since then. Today, Lord, our hearts are full. Now give us strength to choose each day attitudes and behaviors that give life. Life to our families, our friends, our school, our communities. Help us in our relationships to be peacemakers, to trust, to unite, to reconcile, and not divide. This life requires that we lead with compassion, that we go beyond ourselves. And so we come into your presence, O God, for wisdom and courage and love. Amen.
Please be seated. Good morning and welcome to Academic Convocation. If you were one of those who joined us in the very early morning hours on August 27th for the Campus Awakening, you had a taste of the symbolism and the mystery that is an integral part of the college experience. On that morning, as you may remember, we lit candles and we walked together to wake up the campus on that very important first day of class. We ended our walk at Deepwood Circle, and in my comments that morning, I talked about the significance of the circle in understanding what it means to be a member of the Bay Path College community. As a member of the Bay Path College community, you are now a part of something that is never ending. Wherever you go from this place, you will always be a member of this community, and you will have access to networks and to relationships that extend well beyond this place and this time. For those of you who are seniors, I hope that this is a comforting thought as you consider that for many of you, this is indeed your last year on our campus. In today's convocation, you are experiencing yet more symbolism. For example, our faculty and platform guests are dressed in academic regalia, a tradition that actually dates back to the medieval universities of Europe. During this time, college students were actually required to wear their robes to class, and in fact were not allowed into their classes without proper attire. So aren't you glad that things have changed? At the end of today's program, you're going to experience more symbolism in the donning of the cap ceremony. During this part of the program, we will formally induct our new students into the Bay Path College learning community by asking you together to take the caps that you're now holding in your hands and to place them on your heads. As you don your caps this morning for the very first time, you join with college students and faculty in a tradition that is more than 800 years old and that signifies an important rite of passage, a transition into what we hope will be a successful and a meaningful time of life for you. So here at the outset of this new academic year, there are three things that I want to urge you to consider. First, as grand as it may be, I do want you to look beyond the symbolism, beyond the formality of today's program and attire, to consider deeply the men and women who sit behind me on this stage and who are your faculty. From my experience at Bay Path, I know your faculty to be individuals who care deeply about teaching. They are passionate about working in a women's college environment like Bay Path. And most importantly, they really want to get to know you. And so I want to urge you to make a commitment to take the time to get to know at least one faculty member this year. You will find that your faculty are highly interesting. They have some novel habits and hobbies among them. I'll leave it to you to figure out what those things are. And they are caring human beings. So please consider inviting one of your faculty to go to lunch with you or perhaps to go have a cup of coffee in the Carpe Diem Cafe. If you do this, I guarantee that you'll make a friend for life and the reach of the Bay Path community will extend even further for you. During the donning of the cap ceremony, your faculty are going to come down to the main floor. They will stand in the aisles surrounding you as you recite the affirmation and the response. This too is symbolic of the role that they play in supporting you and your educational journey here at Bay Path. Second, I want to urge you to anticipate and to embrace the sense of discomfort and angst that you will feel many times over in the days ahead, and I hope you've already had some of these moments. Something that is a natural part of any big transition to a new situation. And here's what I want you to remember. When you're in the midst of having that moment of discomfort, maybe you're in a class and something is said that you don't quite understand, maybe you're working on an assignment, you can't quite connect the dots. In that moment, what I want you to remember is that something very, very good is happening inside of you. That's the moment, that moment of discomfort when the dots aren't connecting, that real learning is starting to take root inside of you. And so know that when you're having those moments of discomfort, nothing could make your faculty happier because they know that that's the beginning of learning. And their goal is to create and to deliver learning experiences that will challenge you and help you grow to become the women that you were put on this earth to be. And so please let your faculty know if you're having those moments. They would like nothing more than to work with you to help you through those moments. Likewise, if you never have a moment of discomfort, I want to urge you to go and let your faculty know that as well. Because our goal, again, is for each of you to work together with your faculty to create an appropriately challenging and successful learning experience. As you may know, the theme for this year's campus theme is Lead with Compassion. And so the third and the final thing that I want to urge each of you to consider is this. What role does compassion play in your life? There's a wonderful statement about compassion that is in your program by the Dalai Lama. And here's another one that I want you to consider. Compassion is a virtue which requires us to put ourselves consistently in another person's shoes, to feel his or her pain as though it were our own, and to enter into his or her own point of view. Why is compassion so important that we are dedicating an entire year to this theme? Well, first of all, there's some scientific studies that suggest that practicing compassion is actually good for you. The practice of compassion has been found, according to research, to actually generate more of something called DHEA. That's the hormone that makes you live longer. It also reduces the amount of cortisol, which is the stress hormone. So first and foremost, it's good for you to be compassionate. I think just as importantly, though, being able to understand what others are going through and acting on their behalf is a critical skill in the new America in which we live and in which you will work, where you will have contact with people from all over the world, many of whom have different worldviews and life experiences. Each of us has the opportunity to practice compassion on a daily basis in both large ways and small, and the impact can be profound. And so I urge you to pay attention to the opportunities that you have in the coming days to practice compassion. For example, perhaps you'll consider getting involved in one of the many service opportunities that are offered on our campus or in our community. Or the next time you hear somebody being gossiped about, or you see somebody being mistreated, perhaps you can be the person who's going to speak up on that person's behalf. What about the individuals you've already met in the last few weeks who are really different than you? How about sitting down and asking them to tell you their story so you can better understand their perspective and where they're coming from? Or finally, how about the people who might be sitting alone in the dining hall who simply need somebody to listen to them? Perhaps you can be that listening ear. Through the campus theme program, there will be many activities in the coming months that will challenge each of us to consider how we can be more compassionate. I encourage you to go to as many of these as you can and to look for those opportunities that are right in front of you to practice compassion. And when you leave today, there's a wonderful poster that each of you will receive. This is the Lead with Compassion campus theme poster for this year with the activities that have already been scheduled for the fall. So make sure you grab one of these, put it up on the wall wherever you live, and come to as many of these as you can. In particular, in a few weeks, you're going to be back here, the first-year students in particular, for our Thumbprint inaugural lecture by Maria Carrion-Janis, who is a longtime journalist and social entrepreneur who is pursuing her life's calling of helping others craft and live lives that are worth meaning. And when you hear her speak, you will see that compassion plays a critical role in how she defines a meaningful life. It is now my pleasure to introduce and to welcome to the podium your president, Dr. Carol Leary. Please join me in welcoming her.
Thank you, Melissa, for those wonderful comments, and a very warm welcome to each and every one of you. Today is one of the most important days in the academic calendar. And it's an opportunity for me to say publicly thank you to our faculty who are here on this stage, because for you, they are the most important individuals in your lives. And I thank them for their commitment to Bay Path College and to the students that we have served for many years. I also would like to thank our staff who are out there as your coaches and your counselors, your advisors, and your mentors. They will play an important role in your journey as a student over 4 years. I particularly wish to thank Roberta Baldock, the chair of our Board of Trustees, the governing body of Bay Path College, because this board really is there to be the visionary for the future of our college. And we thank them for taking some risks, for supporting us, and for being there when we need them. But my remarks are really for all of you today. It really is in many ways a very sad ceremony for me, because this will be the last time that I have to say to our seniors, welcome to Convocation. But I'm very proud that you have made it to this point. And I welcome our first year and transfer students, because you are just beginning your journey, and someday you will be seated here donning the black robe and cap and waiting for commencement day. But what's most important about today is that the mantle is being passed to each and every one of you, to the first year and transfers, and to our seniors, as you consider what it is to be a woman in the new America. I consider you important players in this new America. You are the new American woman. And when you think about the new American woman and what she will be doing in the new America, you think about the role that you will be playing, not just as a professional, but as someone committed to our society. Sometimes we hear the words of wisdom from prominent leaders, both men and women, who for me capture the essence of the new America. And I'd like to share with you the words of one such individual, a gentleman by the name of Gary Friedman, who is one of America's foremost CEOs. And I quote, "We are taught from the time we are born to conform to current and conventional views. We are discouraged from taking risks and encouraged to follow the proven path. In many ways, we have been taught how to follow rather than lead. We've been encouraged to look at the stars rather than reach for them. Yet inside each of us exists a unique and authentic light, a set of beliefs that, when followed, gives us a sense of purpose and ignites the human spirit within. When we fearlessly fight for what we believe in and remain hopelessly optimistic about life, love, and the future, we create an authentic connection with all in our path, most importantly, with ourselves. My wish for you this year is that Bay Path be your authentic connection to each other and to yourself. It is fortunate that I have the opportunity to introduce one of our new American women, a student that I knew when she was here, who started her first day of class on September 11th, 2001. She exemplifies all in that quote. I remember with Noel sitting in the dining room having dinner with her, listening, very carefully listening to her dreams. And I also remember her taking me to my seat at Bertucci's because she worked every single day for 4 years to pay for her college education. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce this wonderful alumna of Bay Path College, Jamie Clark. Jamie is a board-certified physician assistant, and she is a lifelong resident of Connecticut. She attended the Hartford Academy of Performing Arts Magnet High School studying classical piano. Although she loved music, she entered Bay Path College in 2001 to explore other fields, and she eventually majored in biology with a psychology minor. While in college, like many of you, she worked, as I said, to defray the costs of her tuition. After graduating in 2006, Jamie worked at the Yale School of Medicine Cancer Center, where she spent 4 years managing clinical trials in the areas of prostate, renal, and soft tissue cancers. In 2011, Jamie completed the physician assistant program at Quinnipiac University. We didn't have ours at that time, receiving her certificate and her master's degree. She currently works in a family practice in Connecticut where she focuses on pediatric, adolescent, and adult medicine. She also holds a position at an urgent care center to stay current with her suturing skills, and she recently began teaching the dermatology course for Bay Path College's inaugural physician assistant program. I know you join me in welcoming this extraordinary new American woman, Jamie Clark.
Thank you so much. Allergies, I'm sorry for the hypernasal voice. So I'm going to tell you a story today, and it's one where I was up against the odds with another human life in my hand, and it didn't end quite well, and it did end with a period of growth. And I had many internal debates as to whether or not I wanted to share such a deeply personal and intimate tale, but I thought to myself, and especially today, September 11th, what's the point of sadness, and what's the point of failure, and even regret if we can't learn from it? Why have such monumental experiences if we're only going to box them up and store them in the depths of our minds? My boyfriend Chris and I took a walk last spring through one of New Haven's most beautiful neighborhoods. We came out of a stone-walled park and heard what sounded like a muffled scream. I looked at Chris, and he was as confused as I was. We took a left out of the park and began walking down an oak tree-lined street. We approached a house with 2 young boys in the front yard. They were about 9 and 12 years old. The younger one seemed a little distressed, and as we walked by, I stopped and asked, "Boys, are you guys okay?" "We're fine," said the older one. Chris and I continued on, but I began to have that feeling, and you know which one that is, right? It's that feeling that sits right here on your shoulders and whispers in your ear, "You're not quite done here yet." I turned around and went back to the boys. "Guys, really, is something going on? Do you need help?" The younger boy leaped off of the front stoop and said, "Our dad fell. My mom is inside on the phone with 911, and we're waiting for the ambulance." My instincts kicked in immediately. "Okay, well, I know medicine. Can I come in? Can I see if I can help him?" The boy grabbed my hand, pulled me through the immaculate entryway and towards a stairwell that led into the basement. He screamed down, Mom, someone's here." And I began going down what felt like the biggest and longest stairwell ever. I came to the bottom and saw a woman on the phone frantically pacing over body on the floor. "Hi, I'm so sorry. I'm a physician assistant and I was walking by and I heard screams. What can I do?" "My husband was running on the treadmill and collapsed and my boys called me at work. Please, please, please do something." "Well, what's his name?" I asked. "Vikram," she replied. I went over to the man and my stomach dropped, and he was on his back and his head was at the end of the treadmill and there was a large cut above his right forehead and his eyes were fixed. I bent down to feel his pulse, and if anything, there may have been something faint. My time during my trauma surgery rotation kicked in and I immediately began chest compressions. "Vikram," I shouted. "Vikram, blink your eyes if you can hear me." No movement, and I continued compressions and asked his wife to give him his breaths, and I continued pumping and pushing as hard as I could, sweat pouring off of me. I'm not sure where all of my strength was coming from because at the time, all I felt was numbness. Right before the paramedics arrived, I heard a long exhale from this man, and that would be his last breath. With his wife in the background pleading for him to wake up, one of the paramedics came over and took over as my fatigue settled in. I gave what little history I knew to the paramedic and asked him to start a line, push epinephrine, and set the paddles up in order to jolt him with electricity, and one last-ditch effort to try and restart his heart. As they boarded him up to transfer him to the hospital, I made my way out of the house, past those two boys, who were being consoled by a neighbor. I wouldn't see them again until the wake. Now, this is my perception of personal failure. I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring him back. I replayed that moment over and over in my head for weeks. Was I over his sternum? Did I have his wife blow enough breaths into his mouth? What if I was in a trauma bay and I had all my technology with me? Did I look stupid at the moment? Did I know what I was talking about? But how dare I think such selfish thoughts? After a few weeks, those thoughts of failure began to turn and evolve into a period of insight. What if, I thought, what if I allowed that man seconds more just to hear his wife's voice? What if I gave those two little boys an extra 15 minutes of hope? It would be cruel to think that those moments don't matter to an individual. I finally found peace in what my perception of failure is, and that it may be moments of hope to others. And I can't put a price tag on those moments. That's not my job. My job is at least to put forth a wholehearted effort to provide extra moments to others. So I tell you all this. You're going to have a moment when you doubt yourselves and you doubt your choices and your own potential. Remember that all of your individual decisions are going to lead up to a moment when it matters, when everything you worked so very hard for will collectively combust and present itself to you. Like me, it may be what you consider failure, but I ask you to do this. I ask you to analyze, learn, and grow from that experience. Take something so very sad and own it. Own the emotion surrounding it and own its effect on others. I look back to the moment when I had to reintroduce myself to Vikram's wife at his wake, and it warmed my heart to see so many people there. He must have touched so many people's lives. I could imagine that his wife was so very overwhelmed, and I walked up to her and said, "Hi, I'm Jamie. I was with you at your house with Vikram, and I'm so sorry I couldn't save him." My own tears barely hit the floor before she took me in her arms and simply said, "You helped me, my boys, and Vikram more than you know." This was my aha moment, okay? Through my doubt and insecurities over my experience with Vikram, I emerged knowing that I made the right decision some 8 years ago to become a biology major here at Bay Path. It wasn't something I expected coming from a musical background, but I realized that every decision I've made in my life, from accepting admission here at Bay Path to declaring biology as a major, to going with my gut instinct that I should practice medicine, it all led me to that oak tree lined street that one fateful day. Now, as members of the Bay Path community, you'll be taking or have taken this pledge of honor, commitment, honesty, integrity, and respect. And you'll find throughout your life that your definition of those very characteristics will be constantly developed and challenged, most of all by yourself. I beg you to stick to your convictions, but leave room for discourse. Speak your mind, but listen closely. And above all, love each other and strangers with all of your heart. Those will be the times that will affirm your decisions and provide you with your own aha moments. I have my time here at Bay Path to thank for the same lessons you're being given during your time here. And you're all given such a special opportunity here to be part of a community that only wants to see you grow. And that's our job here. We propel you to greatness. Your actions will affect other people. Your words, your movements, and your accountability affect others. Your struggles, your failures, your lessons, those all will be what write the chapters of the journeys you'll take throughout your career and your life. Own it. Understand that your path will take you to tremendous leaps and bounds, but it will only matter if you grow, love, and learn from your experience. And I'll tell you what I tell most of my patients. I don't know how your life will play out. I don't know what will happen in your life. I don't know the whys, the whens, the wheres, but I do know one thing. It will work out. May not be how you planned or how you expected, but know that it always works out in the end. And what speech wouldn't be complete without a quote? Rainier Rilke, a brilliant poet far beyond his time, once wrote, "The deepest experience of the Creator is feminine, for it is experience of receiving and bearing." I ask you all to receive your experiences here, bear their lessons, and on top of all that, pay it forward. Pay it forward in the form of altruism and acceptance of yourself and each other. As we move on, my task for you is to think of a time when your failure wasn't really a failure, when success rose out of a painful experience, and as you move towards graduation, whether it be in 8 months or in 3 years, keep telling yourself that you're setting yourself up for greatness, that your decisions will always work out and they may just surprise you. Thank you so much to Dr. Larry and Ann Dobmeyer for inviting me. I wish you all the most amount of success that you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. It is indeed wonderful to have you here. You are living your life in such a powerful way, and we are so very proud of you. We now come to that place in the program where we will formally induct our incoming class into the Bay Path College community of learners. During the next few minutes and during the musical interlude, our faculty will rise and recess down to the main floor. They will fill the aisles surrounding you, while Amanda Cullity and Ariadne Sykes will come and join me here at the podium. I'm grateful to Richard Murphy, our new writing program director, who has written our affirmation and response. I am now pleased to introduce our senior delegate, Amanda Cullity, and our first-year delegate, Ariadne Sykes, who will lead the induction of our new students. First, on behalf of the senior class, Amanda will ask her classmates to stand, to turn around, and to face the first-year students, and will lead them in reading aloud the senior affirmation that is printed in the program. Following the senior affirmation, the new students should stand, and Ariadne will lead her classmates in reading aloud the response, which is also found in the program. Amanda.
Hello, everyone. Hi. I ask all the seniors to stand with me and face the freshmen, first years. I apologize. In either direction, they are behind us and in the side. Please join me in our senior affirmation. Welcome to Bay Path's learning community. We invite you to join us in building the roads of women of leadership who bring social justice through the 21st century. We are self-motivated problem posers and problem solvers inside and outside the classroom. We are partners with faculty in curiosity and in hunger for knowledge. Faculty and students recognize and foster lifelong learning through dialogue and partnerships wherever we go to bring about just and educated communities.
Hello. I'm going to ask for all the first years to stand and transfers. We have been woken to self-initiated learning. We will help build the road for women of leadership who bring social justice through the 21st century. It begins at Bay Path College with learning and community. It will go on forever.
New students, I now invite you to take your caps, place them on your heads as we all join together in welcoming you into the Bay Path College community of empowered learners and leaders. I invite you to now sit for the final video presentation on Lead with Compassion.
what is real is that we are all connected on this earth. We are all one, meant to be one. Everyone has dignity, everyone has worth.
Knowing that we can actually figure out ways to harness the power of gentrification. And I want to be someone out there doing that kind of impossible thing to show that it can be done.
Each of us can be most effective in our work when we have the willingness to identify our greatest vulnerability. And when we take good care of that vulnerability, we do the hard work of healing. When I can translate that into the strength of my character and the courage of my convictions, I have the power to lead.
Thank you, each of you, for your presence here this morning, and I wish for each of you a successful, a meaningful, and a compassion-filled year ahead. Will you all now please rise and remain standing during the recessional, which begins with the faculty, followed by our president, Board of Trustees chair, platform delegates, and finally the seniors and our first year and transfer students. Have a wonderful year.